What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. It is time for my Game Week 14 team selection. What's up, everyone? FPL Harry here and welcome back to another video. It is Game Week 14 team selection time. Today we're going to have a look at my lineup for Game Week 14. I've got a couple of flags in my starting lineup at the moment. We'll talk about the big elephant in the room, which is Erling Haaland, and whether I think he is going to start in the early kickoff on Saturday morning against Leicester. Should he be in our team? Should he be our captain still? What we should be doing with him, plus other transfer plans I have with my team, starting lineups, a bit of a discussion around all the hot FPL prospects at the moment. Before we do that, a quick review of how I got on in Game Week 13. It was a bad game week for me. Not dreadful, but bad. It was a red arrow. I moved from 15k down to 18k with a score now of just over 801 points. Closing in on that 1,000 point barrier, 3 game weeks to go until the World Cup. Can I break it? I would need 70 points a game week almost to go and get that. I think it's probably unlikely, but I think I can get very, very close. That is the aim anyway. I scored 57 points for me, and it was pretty much down to 3 players. Castagna for me got a massive 12. If anyone followed me on the Castagna wagon, he got 12 points. Again, a massive return. So happy with him with the assist, 3 bonus points, and a clean sheet for Leicester. Leicester, what is going on there defensively? They have now kept 4 clean sheets in their past 5. Any of you who have started Danny Ward in any of those fixtures, congratulations. But any of you like me who have had Danny Ward on their bench practically every single week, it has been painful. But Castagna's 12 points did ease the pain just a little bit. I would have got a green arrow if I'd started him, with Gaeta and Crystal Palace being very, very frustrating owns at the moment. Both Gaeta and then Zaha as well. He's not looked good and playing very far out on that left-hand side. So potentially one I've got my eye on as a potential transfer out. The other players that did well is Erling Haaland, 26 points, as Erling Haaland does. He got 2 goals and continues to storm the Premier League. Again, he is yellow flagged, and we'll get onto that in just a minute. And then Mitrovic. Mitrovic is 6 points, but unfortunately that Fulham result meant that I had Andreas Pereira first on my bench. Now, a lot of you will be looking at Andreas Pereira first on your benches as well, and it is a painful sight, and it was a big week for all our benches. Let me know in the comment section, how many points did your bench get this week? I got 19, and I think that's pretty low in comparison to some of the others that I've seen. The final pain point for me was Dominic Solanke. Monday Night Football, I played Solanke because I like having a player in that Monday night game in case something happens, in case there's lots of goals, and it gives you that little bit of extra hope that the game week might finally turn around for you. But he played 30 minutes, got subbed off. If only he hadn't started at all, then I would have had Andreas off my bench. Same if Foden hadn't have come on as a sub, I would have had Andreas off my bench. But it is what it is. Solanke is looking like he might be okay for game week 14, if not game week 15. But let's get into Haaland and my other transfer plans. So the first thing we're going to look at is Erling Haaland. Now, on my previous video, as you can see, I had so many comments, which is Haaland is injured, Haaland is out, Haaland is injured. What should we do with Haaland? Should I sell Haaland? Should I still captain Haaland? Everything like this. So I am going to address it. Of course, at time of recording, it is Thursday. We have heard nothing concrete about whether he's going to be available for this weekend. The information that we've got is we've seen a video of Haaland hobbling around the training ground, not in kit, going for a medical. We have then had it confirmed that the injury sustained is not anything serious, but that does not mean that he's been cleared fit to play for this weekend. If I had to hazard a guess, and I'm completely guessing here, I would say I think Haaland is not going to be fit enough to start this weekend. Again, especially because it's given that early fixture on Saturday, the recovery time is much less. Now, there will be a Manchester City Pep Guardiola press conference on Friday, so do wait for that to know what we're going to do with him. At the moment, in my team at the end, you'll see my captaincy is still currently on Haaland, because if he's got a chance of playing, I still will probably give it to him, given how well he has performed so far this season. But at time of recording, given that video we've seen of him limping around, I think the chances of him starting are quite slim. Now, don't go selling him if he is going to miss one game week, because you'll lose so much value in him and you will want him back for the final 2 games before the World Cup as well. So don't panic. Every single FPL manager is in the same boat, but it does mean I would save all your transfers. Even if there are price rises taking place, save them until we know concrete information about what you're going to do with Haaland. So the first player that I could potentially look at selling is injured Dominic Solanke. Now, he picked up an injury in the Monday night fixture. We have heard today in press conferences that the injury is not nearly as bad as they thought, and he has a chance to play in game week 14. I still think the chances of him starting at home to Tottenham this week are slim, and they will probably save him for the Leeds and Everton games in the next couple of weeks. In terms of the forwards that I'm looking at, I am really interested in taking a 3-week punt on Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, he has returned from injury for Everton. They look a much better side when he's playing, and his form in front of goal is really, really nice. It is a differential, but he has such nice fixtures. I think he has the potential to do really well over this run. I could play it safer and go with Callum Wilson, who again looks really good. 2 injury-prone strikers in my transfer in potentials over Dominic Solanke at the moment, but Wilson and Newcastle look like they're scoring goals for fun. Wilson's on penalties. He's always involved as well. The fixtures are not quite as nice, but I do expect them to put up good performances in these games, despite having Chelsea in there as well. And then the final one we've got is Ivan Toney. Now, a lot of you will be considering selling Ivan Toney this week, but Ivan Toney and Brentford are a very hit and miss team. They do have 2 nice fixtures over the next 2 game weeks in particular. I still think Toney can be a good option. If I had him up front, I probably wouldn't be selling him at the moment either, and I would be holding on to him. I think he could do well over the next 2 and as a bit of a differential shout. I have done well with Toney this year, and I am considering going back to him. However, my plan with Dominic Solanke was always to bench him against Tottenham at home in game week 14 and then potentially start him in place of Mitrovic in the final 2 games before the World Cup, because Fulham have a difficult run and because Solanke has those 2 good fixtures. So with that in mind, I still think that's going to be with the plan. Given what we heard in the press conference today, I'm going to hold Solanke through this Tottenham fixture. He'll be on my bench this week, and then if he's still out next week, then I'll look to make another transfer, maybe Solanke out, maybe Mitrovic out, but for now, he's going to stay in my squad. Now, the transfer that I do think I'm going to make is we're upgrading Andreas Pereira to a midfielder of a higher budget. Of course, I have a lot of money, 3.7 million in the bank, and 1 free transfer to be playing around with. The fixtures for Fulham look good. They have Everton this week, then it is Manchester City, and then Manchester United at home. Andreas Pereira looks like a real quality player at the moment. He's on some set pieces, depending how many games Willian starts, and his threat from open play is good. He almost scored in this game as well when he got 10 points. That would have been a massive 15-point or 16-point return for him if he had scored that goal, which would have been crazy for everyone to have that on their benches. But I don't have faith in starting him, and there are a couple of more explosive assets I do plan on bringing in. Bukayo Saka is number 1. He's up to 8 million. I still have the money in the bank to go and afford that. Nottingham Forest and Wolves with Chelsea in the middle before the World Cup is still fixtures I want to go and target, particularly this week. Only having Martinelli, no Jesus, no Saka is a real concern for me. I'm expecting a big bounce back from Arsenal. Again, waiting to see if Saka starts in the Europa League tonight, what the potential outcome of that is, whether he's absolutely fully fit for the weekend. No need to make a transfer before then. Again, the other thing I need to consider is Andreas is going to rise in price, hopefully before the deadline, hopefully on Thursday or Friday evening, and I'm waiting to sell Andreas after that takes place. Once he rises again, my selling price for Andreas Pereira will go up by 0.1 because he'll have risen to 4.7 million, so my selling value will go up to 4.6 million, and then I can sell him for the likes of Bukayo Saka and take that 0.1 million profit. Now, there are some other options I'm going with. I could go back to Maddison. He plays Manchester City this week, which is a bit of a worry, but the next 2 after that look really good. He returned with a bang in game week 13 with the goal after we all sold him because he was suspended in game week 12. Classic FPL. We all sold Maddison to buy Trossard. Trossard blanked in game week 12. We all sold Trossard to buy Phil Foden, and we all know how that went in game week 13. Trossard started, Trossard scored, and wiped out our Manchester City clean sheets whilst Phil Foden was left on the bench. Brought on for 1 pointer to block our Andreas Pereira points, but I'm not bitter about it. I'm not bitter about it, I promise. The final one, again, I really fancy a punt on Manchester United's Marcus Rashford. Again, 6.6 million, could easily get to him. I could also get to him next week after the West Ham fixture as well. I do have my real eye on Marcus Rashford and Maddison from next week, but I do think that it's going to be Saka that comes into my team this week. I could ditch Zaha as well, but I don't think that's worth a -4, as I spoke about in my game week preview video as well. So Andreas Pereira to Bukayo Saka is looking like my move. So this is my predicted lineup for game week 14. I do think I'm going to make one free transfer of Andreas Pereira up to Bukayo Saka after Saka gets through the Europa League, after Andreas Pereira hopefully rises in price before the game week 14 deadline. At the moment, I'm planning on captaining Haaland until we get news from Pep what is going to happen. If I don't captain Haaland, I will captain Mo Salah. Some of you thinking, Salah's been awful on form. He's only done it in the Champions League. Why are you captaining Salah? I still have faith in him and he loves a goal against Leeds, a Leeds side that are definitely struggling at the moment. Solanke goes first on my bench. I am starting Doherty in my defence. The other two cheap options that I do have in Castagna again, Man City, and Guehi against Southampton. I'm not wanting to start either of them. Castagna I do think is a good option, but it's not got a good fixture. And then Guehi, they're just not performing well, even Southampton, but I have Guaita in goal at the moment. My starting 11 pretty much picks itself anyway this week in this 3-5-2, given the predicted transfer I am going to make. Again, I will confirm the transfer once I've made it in my community section on YouTube and over on Twitter and on Discord as well, and we'll post my final lineup on all my socials, including Instagram as well. If you have any questions about your team going into game week 14, let me know. Drop it in the comment section down below. We're going to try and hit 1,000 likes on the video. It's a big ask, but any support you can do to get me there, and thank you all again for 36,000 subscribers. Good luck in game week 14. Like and subscribe before you go, but I'll be back again very soon.